for the winner's match here. Spawning in the top left position of the map, that is Bel'Shir Vestige. We have the blue Zerg player from Quantic Gaming. It is HyuN. Throwing out GG in Korean, he says. And MMA saying GG-yong. My Korean, I can't read that fast enough for it to make sense. And his opponent spawning in the bottom right position. As the red Terran player coming in from Team Acer, it is MMA. So, we are in the winner's match today of the Russian side. These guys are talking about RSL. RSL on Nija. I can't read it fast enough. Sajigo ha, he says. They're joking about something. But yeah. Anyway. So to get here, we had MMA 2-0 Gosu user. We just saw HyuN 2-0 Hawk. So this is the winner's round now, which is, of course, the first. So whoever wins this best of 3 will advance into the Russian Starleague playoffs, which begin on Monday. And we are going to see that the loser of this match will actually end up playing the final match against the winner of our next match. It's so hard to explain this clearly, but the next match after this will be the loser's game. So that will be Huck versus Gosu user, which should also actually end up being a good series. So we just good games all around today. I actually really like this group, Group F. This is the final group stage that will be broadcasting for the RSL. As, like I said, the playoffs start in just a few days, just next week. So we are going to have a Reaper opening from MMA. This is pretty damn normal. HyuN opening up with the hatch into pool. Now, as far as what kind of strategies these guys might go for, MMA very smartly opening up with a Reaper. We do see quite a bit. Observer has died. No, HyuN. Well, it's not HyuN. Looks like Emil. Emil, please, no. You're so young. Anyway. Yeah. HyuN likes to play aggressively, so don't worry. HyuN really likes to play aggressively. Yeah. 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 Just give us a second for this guy to drop. Okay, so, like I said, HyuN does tend to favor aggressive strategies in this matchup versus Terran players. So, we'll likely see him go for some cute Roach play. I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up going for something like a Roach Baneling all-in, or just a Roach all-in, or really just some incredibly aggressive plays. So, HyuN said Korea is too hot. It's actually been quite warm over here as well. I'm in Pennsylvania, man. It's getting too hot. 8 Lings on the way for HyuN. He actually hasn't scouted too much. He knows about the Reaper, which is, I guess, more than enough. And that Reaper is going to be dancing around now. Oh, might pick up a drone. HyuN throwing it into the extractor. He hasn't actually killed off anything yet. Oh, well, there goes the first Ling. First blood drawn. Now that Reaper gets a 10% damage bonus. Or at least it gives an extra mineral bonus to MMA. Oop! Oh, man, these drones are juking and jiving around this Reaper, really trying to avoid getting picked off. Cancels the extractors, of course. He wasn't going for the weird double gas build. Although, theoretically, he could totally have done that. That would actually be a build that HyuN would do, going for double gas at 4.5 minutes. I think we actually saw a Zerg player do that yesterday in RSL. I think Bly did that versus Lucifron. But MMA transitioning into the standard Hellion play. He did go for the double gas, so we will see an armory. Hellbat drops incoming. This Overlord, though, it sees all. It knows all. And that is, seeing is believing. This Reaper, though, man, he's tenacious. He's only killed 1 Ling. He might finally get his second Ling kill of the day. But HyuN's done a fantastic job of not losing anything to this Reaper. He's been droning up nice and heavily. And that's also partially because MMA went for just a single Reaper. He didn't want to go for anything super crazy aggressive. Just really as much as he could do. So, Armory is about to complete for MMA. Starport is on the way. We will see a Tech Lab on the barracks. So, MMA out of this can transition into Stim. He can just pretty much go into a standard Marine Widowmine play, which is pretty much dominated Terran versus Zerg. That is the metagame right now. Hellions going to try to run by. MMA's been pretty ballsy with these Hellions. I don't know about running in with 2 of them. Usually you want to wait for 4 so that you can start one-shotting the drones. And, of course, I only say 4 because you build them 2 at a time. 3 Hellions is what you need to one-shot a drone. And he just loses those 2 Hellions for pretty much nothing. He doesn't really get much scouting info. I'm actually curious if MMA saw those gas geysers in the natural. He did not. So he might just assume this is a standard gasless play. But what HyuN's opened up with isn't really anything crazy aggressive. Yes, he's starting the Roach Warren. But this is also the kind of build that you would expect to see him go for double evolution chambers with. In fact, I'd be really shocked if he didn't go for double evo chamber. This is going to hit really late for a Roach attack. But, I mean, MMA, to him, he actually didn't even see... Wow. MMA, yeah, you might expect this as a really, really delayed gas build. This Roach play could end up doing a lot of damage. Well, the first Hellbat drop is on the way. The lair is coming in. There's not really anything. There's just a couple slowlings to defend this Hellbat drop. I'm going to say that one more time so that you guys can all start shivering in your boots. He's only got a couple of slowlings to defend this Hellbat drop. 8 roaches are on the way. MMA, what are you waiting for, man? I guess he... Yeah, well, never mind. He should be... HyuN should be fine. There's no drones here. So... He's actually going to be totally fine, I think. The 4 queens can come over here, zone away this medevac. And now the roaches are out. So MMA missing a very, very, very small window where there was only slowlings versus Hellbats. Slowlings versus Hellbats. Slowlings versus Hellbats. Sorry. Hellbats are, if you guys, if there's anyone that's tuning in that doesn't really know what I'm talking about, Hellbats are just really freaking good versus workers and lings. They're very good versus speedlings, so slow Zerglings do not stand a chance, a hell of a chance in a straight up fight versus Hellbats. And now... MMA coming in with a drop, moving in towards the main base. This medevac is running in towards the main. He's not going to go for it, though. There's 2 spore crawlers, which would do a good job of at least killing off this medevac. And MMA, he's just kind of like waiting. He's like crouching in the shadows, waiting for HyuN to just slip up. But HyuN's got a lot of roaches, and I feel the timing where the Hellbat drops are most effective has been missed. MMA going for a slightly later 3rd command center, though. This will allow him to do this little bit of a bio push. And we've actually seen a lot of players doing this kind of attack. I think we actually saw Lucifron do this versus Bly yesterday. And it wasn't really that crazy. But MMA, he hasn't really been able to make much happen. So he's going to move in with these Hellbat drops, try to deny the creep tumors. And he can just add the Hellbat drops into his composition, of course. More so the medevacs, which really give the staying power. Since Stim Pack is complete, Combat Shield will be done soon as well. I mean, Combat Shield for these 2 Marines, man, that's so big. But MMA, I don't know, though. There are a lot of roaches available for HyuN. He's getting the roach speed. These Hellbats not doing anything. And HyuN has just been defending harass so damn well. And I want to harken back to the match versus Huck, where he didn't take any damage from any harass whatsoever the entire series, really. And that's just, HyuN has just been on top of his D, and that's, wow, that sounded wrong, but it's true. He hasn't really taken any damage from any pressure, and now MMA is going to press forward, and he's really been hesitant, it seems. Like, this pressure from MMA is really lackluster. He had this Marauder push ready probably like 5 years ago. He decided he didn't want to push in just yet. He will clear out the creep, but with the speed, he doesn't have enough medevacs to lift all these units up. Viking trying to pick off a couple overlords. He's got 3 so far, but this is too many roaches to just straight up engage. MMA, is he going to take this fight? The roaches are pressing in on top of this bio. Will it be enough? There are quite a few marauders in here, but there's so many roaches. I don't think MMA can take this fight. He's just going to get swallowed up here. We'll have to lift off what he has. And these 2 medevacs showing up a little bit too late. Unfortunately, not able to lift up all those poor units that died. And this queen just zoning the medevac away. MMA, no economic damage done to HyuN at all. So 1-1 is complete for these roaches. They're going to be a little bit more beefy, a little bit tougher. And the third command center has yet to land for MMA. HyuN immediately goes. He's going to body check that. And honestly, MMA doesn't have too many units to actually deal with this setup. There's no Widow Mines on the field. Okay, now as I say that, 2 just pop out. And these guys will be able to burrow. I guess he has 2 over here. But will this be enough to actually hold off this swell of roaches? I don't know. It's going to be pretty tough. MMA with a drop towards the left side is going to try to pick off this 4th base. Does kill that off. No cancel from HyuN. Nice grab there. And he's going to move the 3rd base towards the right side, so away from where these roaches are. And the roaches are getting pulled up to deal with this drop. So MMA is doing a pretty good job of peeling HyuN apart, just kind of going here and there. Just trying to really just pick at him as much as he can. And well, he's got more Marines and Marauders ready. He's almost anticipating that HyuN will try to take this right side base, but this big roach push should spot these medevacs moving across the field. And another cancel force on hatchery. MMA so tenacious with this harass. There's the HyuN starting to get the range upgrade. Oh, MMA, there's no units here. He might be able to pick this hatchery off. He could just focus this down. This drop will be swatted down for now, but this is going to be huge. Picking off the 3rd base is our Terran player. The roaches do arrive, but it's too late. Base is dead. 2-2 is still coming in, though, for HyuN. And MMA's going for a big drop. This is a very small point of entry. This is going to be almost no point of return once he enters here. Once these roaches come in, he's going to pick off the spores. Now he's giving himself a little bit of leeway to get into those medevacs. The Hydras are here, though. Widowmine blows up on some drones. Nice, gets 4 kills. Not terrible. That Marauder's like, no, 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 and he will die. But +2 attack is about to complete for MMA. He only has +1 armor. I just want to note that. He hasn't started +2 armor yet. So there is a nice upgrade advantage available for HyuN once his +2 attack is complete. He'll be able to do a little bit more damage versus MMA's bio units, which are, you know, quite squishy versus this Roach Hydra. So MMA's continue to press forward, though, and one thing I want to give him credit for is he's done a great job of taking away the creep. While HyuN hasn't really taken too much damage from harass, these Widow Mines have actually started to really put a damper on his day. Still only 11 drones total killed by 15 minutes, which isn't bad. But MMA wants to do a little bit more damage, picking off these hatcheries and whatnot. And HyuN actually hasn't been able to get the 4th base either. So while he has a powerful standing army, he needs to take some great fights. The Hydra's actually moving in, though. MMA's unit's getting caught here. Nice pickup for HyuN. He's going to give a little bit of chase. I think HyuN needs to take this 3rd base out, though. I think that's so crucial right now. HyuN needs to do something because he has actually less workers than MMA, and he's almost maxed out. So his army supply is larger. He's got a very massive force. But now the Marines and the Marauders in the main base, and the Widow Mines as well. These roaches, will they be enough to stop this? I don't think there's enough here. He's going to have to pull everything back, and that means not being able to attack this 3rd base. MMA has been able to get away with everything this game, and now we start to see HyuN crumble, losing 15 drones, not killing a single SCV, and the creep. He hasn't been able to push the creep on his opponent's half of the map at any point. The Widow Mines are going to burrow. These could catch any drones that are trying to retreat very easily. The Mines, oh, they're burning. Gets 1 shot off. Unfortunately, not huge, but he will pick off that 3rd hatchery again. And MMA, he's like, okay, well, I killed it, and now I just run away. And he's not even using the medevac boost to do the harass. He's just killing the hatcheries and then sprinting. And HyuN, oh, man, it's so tough because MMA, as soon as he sees HyuN coming at him, he's like, okay, well, I'm just going to drop you again. Have fun. And HyuN needs to kill his face off, but now it might be too late. I don't know if HyuN has enough to actually break this 3rd. He's coming in. He's trying to get a spread with the roaches, with the Hydras. He does have that upgrade advantage. Will it be enough to turn the tides of this fight, though? Yes, the Overseer is here, spotting those Widow Mines. HyuN getting put in a little bit of a choke point, though. Ooh, he's losing a lot. MMA's going to pull his SCVs. He is going to pull absolutely everything to try to hold this attack off. Will the Hydras be enough? I don't think so. MMA, at the cost of all of his SCVs, will be able to clean up a lot of this, but HyuN, with that upgraded advantage, staggering, he's actually going to break through MMA's defenses. He killed off so many workers there. 27 SCVs killed. He's going to pick off this 3rd orbital command. There is a 4th one under construction, but no, HyuN, don't let it get away. No, 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 no. Oh, my goodness. MMA catches a lucky break. That command center was slated for death, man. The Grim Reaper was just like sitting on top of that thing, just waiting to carry that one home. But pathogen glands will be coming up for HyuN. And, you know, if he doesn't get this 3rd base up again, he's barely mined 400 or 500 minerals from each one of these patches. He still has 2/3 of the total resources available. And we are seeing HyuN continue to throw changelings everywhere. And that's, you might say it's a little weird that he just goes for this so many Overseers, but it's great because he can pick off the Widow Mines. He can use the Overseer. He can actually use the changelings to pick off Widow Mines. He can actually you can trigger Widow Mines with unchanged changelings. And of course, you can take the towers with the changelings. It's a 0 resource investment. And now MMA is actually moving into some siege tanks. And this is interesting because once these infestors come out onto the field, the infested Terrans can cause a little bit of splash damage, friendly fire to MMA. There's a lot of ways that you can abuse siege tanks. I think a lot of people agree that siege tanks kind of suck versus Zerg the longer the game goes on. So I'm very interested to see how this turns out. We have HyuN blocking this third base from landing with this changeling, and he's like, oh, SCV gives it the kiss of death, and he will be able to land that. Now, HyuN's army composition. Important thing to note: fungal growth does reveal Widow Mines. It also does area of effect damage. In case you guys have been living under a rock. 3 fungals will kill off these Widow Mines, but they have to be perfectly chained. So if he wanted to just keep them fungled the entire time, he would need 4. But that would take a little bit too much time, in all honesty. These siege tanks will do a great job defensively. Without a hive, HyuN actually can't punish the tanks too badly. Vipers are so good versus them. But taking this base, this is what HyuN needs to do. He still has a very powerful army. He's way ahead in supply. And that big fight that he won earlier pretty much put him into a position where losing this game, I don't actually know. MMA had a huge lead earlier on, but HyuN has just been, man, he's so damn good. And this game's been so close. I don't quite know what to make of it at this point. The siege tank count is slowly but surely increasing. Will be very good versus the Roach Hydra setup. Keep in mind, if you guys weren't actually aware, it takes siege tanks the same number of shots to kill roaches as it does hydralisks. So it's not like, okay, well, the tanks are only good versus the roaches. No, they're pretty good versus this whole entire composition. They can also zone away the infestors. So it's just smart play all around. And now we see another wave of the changelings being sent. I'd like to see HyuN try to put some pressure on with maybe contaminate on the production, but MMA is getting on top of this hatchery. I don't think HyuN's going to be able to defend this. Is forced to cancel it, and the drone will die as well. So nice pickup there for MMA. Picking up overlords here and there. Supply blocking HyuN by 2 supply, even though he's already maxed out. But MMA does have a lot of production. As long as he can keep his economy up, producing 13 Marines at a time is no small feat. But I think now that HyuN's maxed, he should focus on getting his hive. I'm curious if he actually knows about how many siege tanks there are. We see a little bit of a goop there from when the changelings were killed. But HyuN is moving over towards the right side. He could actually, yeah, he could just run into the natural from here and catch these tanks unsieged. But as far as the best way to approach this, there's no missile turret with these siege tanks. He could throw infested Terrans all over these, but MMA still putting as much pressure on as he can with the drops. There's not too much action going on. It's just a lot of build-up. HyuN just wants to make sure that he has a secured, guaranteed win before he goes for an attack. He wants to know for sure. We might see him send 1 infestor up. These tanks are unsieged. MMA could be looking to put some aggression on. Where is he scanning is the real question. Oh, he's okay. I don't even know. I guess he was taking out a creep tumor. But scans over, sees this right side base. Once HyuN secures this 4th base, I think this is where MMA starts to get into a really, really tough spot because he must kill us. He sees that the infestors a burrow. Oh, tries to tag one. Is not able to. These tanks do get off a warning shot. Nothing serious, but a double drop headed into the main base. HyuN is supply maxed. Basically, he can't really produce units to save this. Throw the inject and no. Oh, death burrow. The roaches will be able to come up here and save this, but MMA is stepping forward now. HyuN has moved his army back to deal with this. He has a greater spire on the way, but these medevacs are such a pain in the ass. And what MMA's goal now, he wants to keep these. He wants to use these drops to keep HyuN back. If he can keep HyuN inside his main, then that will allow MMA to not only secure this 4th base, which is blocked right now by a burrowed roach, but it will also allow MMA to take out this right side expansion, which is his #1 target. There's a big red bullseye on this base that MMA is just he's like a bull going for. I guess that's why it's called bullseye. But now he's just got a really big bioforce. 3/3 here. I think this later hive almost kind of hurt HyuN because he only has the 2/2 upgrades. He would really like to have the 3/3. He no longer has that advantage that he had in the earlier fight. But MMA is going to drop everything here. We should see a planetary fortress because he is that worried right now about the situation of this game. And 4 bunkers. Yeah, MMA is not taking any chances here. This is a very smart play. But once the Greater Spire completes, I don't think MMA can really afford to make a big Viking transition. This drop, though, doing damage. If he picks out this Greater Spire, that could actually be catastrophic for HyuN. He has the money to make Broodlords, but Oh, is he going to be able to get him out? He has to pull everything back here. There are corruptors, but at what cost? This right side base for HyuN will die. MMA is going to be able to do that peeling apart that he wants to do. But now the scan drops. He sees Infestors, Broodlords, Roaches, Hydralisks. MMA knows this game is on a little bit of a timer because MMA, honestly, he's maxed out. He actually cannot afford to make Vikings because he has too many other units. This is a monstrous bio ball right here. But these Broodlords with the fungal growths should be able to shut this down. Right now, MMA, the only thing he can do is abuse the positioning of his opponent's army. He has to look at this and say, well, HyuN, if you have a very slow, powerful army, the only way I'm going to be able to win is trade away supply very effectively. Go for the counterattacks. Send this Marine Tank Force to the left side and then keep his massive death ball to the right side. Or I guess his massive bio ball. It's not really a ball of death. This is a bit closer to that. But he's adding on starports, and if he slowly trades away supply, he might be able to irk himself towards this. These Marines step forward. They get chewed apart. More Broodlords are on the way. And the thing is, there are Corruptors here, but there's also Hydralisks. The anti-air for our Zerg player is quite palpable. This hatchery almost taken out while it's building. But now the Broodlords are beginning to move in, and there's not a lot of Vikings. The Widow Mines can actually do a lot of damage. But he's just going to evacuate this planetary fortress. He's like, no, I actually can't defend this. There's too many Broodlords. And we already see that counterattack. MMA's like, siege tanks kind of suck in this position, so I'm going to go send these out to fight and just try to base trade. We have a big tank drop over here, and that's all MMA needs to do, just trade away supply. But is he going to be able to get the Vikings out in time? Will he get enough Vikings? There's still Infestors on the field. There's still Hydralisks. There's still Roaches. There's still lots of awesome things that can do tons and tons of damage. The PF will fall. But this is where MMA says, okay, I'm not going to let you push me and kill me. You don't want a base trade versus a Terran, right? Come home, let's fight. And he's going to have these Widow Mines here. And if he flies the Broodlords over these, that could hurt him a lot. If he runs the Infestors over here, it could hurt. But the Infestors and the Hydras are here. Fungal Growth hits one of these siege tanks. As these tanks siege, though, this is going to be such a good position. But the Broodlords will come in from the east side. The Broodlings are going to trigger all these Widow Mines as well. Ooh, he's gonna step in range. All the Widow Mines. He's gonna splash on everything. A nice big couple of Widow Mine hits on these Broodlords. And HyuN, he cannot afford to lose these Broodlords. His ground army cannot stand up to the taste of Cinnamon Toast MMA's army. And here he comes. He's got a lot of siege tanks. Transfuses dropping on these Broodlords. The Corruptors are here. And now the Marines trying to keep these Corruptors away from the Vikings, but the Broodlords are just too much. These tanks are going to splash each other to death. The Broodlords were quite softened up earlier, but now the Hydras and the Corruptors trying to stop these Vikings. This is such a tense moment right now. If he can kill all the Broodlords off, he will be able to take this game. The mines are trying to burrow under these Broodlords. There's only 3 Broods left, but HyuN has killed off so much of MMA's army, but does he have enough left himself? It's just now he has actually enough Marines to potentially just run under these Broodlords. There's a drop at the right side of the base, killing off that hatchery. HyuN, barely any economy left. He's going to try to stem to win under these Broods. He's going to target one of them down. The Transfuse hits the other, but it will fall, and HyuN, losing all of his army, may lose this game as well. GG, well played, and MMA takes this first game here in this best of 3 versus Quantix HyuN for the Russian Starleague Group F winners match. Damn, that was a sick game. And I feel sorry for anyone that's missing out on here. Let me update my scoreboard so we actually have winners. MMA with some sick play. That game was so back and forth. I don't even... Wow, I shouldn't write winners. I should write HyuN and... God, you can type, Nathan. MMA 1-0. So, guys, don't go anywhere. Game number 2 coming up in just a moment here for the Russian Starleague Group F.